Boundaries of 13 Detroit area seats in the Michigan Legislature must be redrawn after a three-judge panel said that the map was illegally influenced by race.
The new maps have the potential to upend the balance of power in Lansing, where the House is currently tied 54 to 54 with 2 vacancies.
Joining us now to break all of this down for us is Marjorie Sarbaugh-Thompson, professor of political science at Wayne State University. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for asking me.
Now, first, what is your feelings about this decision? Do you feel that district lines are a problem in Michigan that needs to be addressed?
I think that there are some problems with the primary system, but I do not think that they are the result of the district lines, nor do I think that moving district lines around is going to fix the problem.
Okay, can you expand on that? Why do you feel that way?
Okay, so envision a primary where you have multiple candidates. Say you have 5 candidates, which is not at all uncommon. So in that situation, about 20% of voters show up to vote in a primary election. Sadly, I wish more, but you divide the electorate into equal parts. Each of them gets the same number. They've all got 4% of the voters. Whoever gets 5% becomes the primary winner. And in situations where districts tend to be a little bit safe for one party, then that person's going to go on and most likely win the general election. So you've let 5% of the electorate in a party primary of that party's voters choose the person who is likely to represent the district. That can cause problems when you have small factions within a district. But if it's only 5% that it takes to do that in a primary, you're going to have to draw districts that have 95% representation of some groups in order to ensure that you have victors. And that's virtually impossible to do. So tweaking the lines, I don't think solves the problem. Ranked choice voting would, and I strongly support us moving to some system like that to increase the representation and representativeness of our elected politicians. And I don't know if everybody understands how ranked choice voting would work, but what happens is that you vote for the 5 candidates in this hypothetical primary and you rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so if nobody gets a majority of that party's primary voters, then you drop off the lowest one, reapportion the people's votes to their second choice who made that their first choice, and then redistribute the votes. And eventually you get to the point where somebody gets a majority of that party primary's voters. That means that you're going to move away from a system where very small factions within an electorate in a party primary can choose somebody who's pretty much a shoo-in in the general election. And it means that some of these smaller factions don't have that kind of clout in the primary system. That would really be a helpful switch, but playing musical chairs with moving this boundary that way a little bit or that boundary the other way a little bit, it's just not going to solve this problem. So I agree there are problems with the primary system, but this is a very bad solution to it.
How will the process work? Who gets to decide how these districts are drawn and where the lines are? How does that process, and what's the timeline for something like this?
Well, for starters, I suspect, although I don't, there's no way to know for sure, but I suspect that this decision is going to be appealed. And then, once the appeal process cycles through, then, we'll have to see whether this is upheld with an appeal. I'm not entirely sure that it would be upheld in an appeal. I think, there's some real issues in terms of the decision itself. So, that would be my expectation on the timeline, is that the next step is the appeal.
All right, thank you so much. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. That's Marjorie Sarbaugh-Thompson, professor of political science at Wayne State University. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me.